welcome back to another episode spotlighting local entrepreneurs on their business, their community, and suggestions they have for other new businesses, up and coming networkers, and all that great stuff. So today I'm super excited to have my guest Gary with us today. Gary, thank you so much for the time today. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I'm glad to be here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Gary and I connected at the BNI conference here in Northeast Florida a few weeks back, and we had a one-to-one, and it was really great learning about what he does and how he's helping people and what he loves about helping people. So, Gary, why don't you kick us off and tell us a little bit about, first of all, why don't we start pretty simple? You can just tell everyone what you do and how you got into it.
Of course. So I am a public adjuster. And in short, I am an insurance adjuster that works for homeowners to help them navigate the insurance process and to make sure they're restored back to pre-loss condition. So typically, when you have damage to your property, you open an insurance claim. So the insurance company is going to send out adjusters that are going to adjust the claim on behalf of the insurance company. Us as a public adjuster, we step in and we'll adjust the claim on behalf of the client to make sure the insurance company is adjusting the claim properly. And in most cases, insurance companies are for-profit companies and they like to save money. So they're going to try to adjust it in their favor as best as possible.
hmm Yeah, so so I mean, I was watching a few videos. A friend of mine had sent like I think a 60, like one of those 60 minutes like ABC specials. And it's really cool to be able to see specifically what public adjusters do. So first of all, how did you get into what you're doing today?
So I kind of fell into it. I had a license to work as an adjuster, as an independent adjuster for insurance companies or independent adjusting firms, but I never used it. So while I was building my real estate business, I was looking for something to bring more active income while I built that. And I went to a networking meeting at Jacksonville Beach and ran into the owner of our company. And when I met him, he actually explained to me what is a public adjuster, what they do, the compensation structure, yada, yada, yada. So I was very intrigued by it because I've never heard of it. And typically, when I don't hear about something, that's typically a field where a lot of people are making a lot more money. So
Yeah.
so I did my research on it and I was intrigued and I was like, okay, well, I already have the first license. What does it hurt to just go and get the second license? And if I don't like it, okay, I just have a license and I spend a couple $100. But if I like it, then I keep doing it until I get tired of it. So
There you
I
go.
took the leap of faith, got the license. I was the first person that was brought onto the firm. And then the rest is history. Now I'm the director of our firm, managing
Wow.
six other public adjusters.
Congrats. That's awesome. It's super cool. And I've never heard of that motto. I feel like the motto is like, it's like if you've never heard about something, then it means like it's irrelevant and it does nothing for you. So I like your spin on things because that's how I feel as well. Like I'm sure there's a good reason I haven't heard of it, and there's a good reason I'm hearing about it now. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I take on it. Uh, I know not to say like to bring up an actual case, but really quick, do you have like kind of an example of what your job is, like a hypothetical scenario, not a real scenario, of how you come in and when do you come in and when should people call you, if that makes sense?
Of course. So there's two scenarios where we come in. The most favorable scenario is we would hope to come in from the beginning stages of
Mm-hmm.
filing a claim so we can properly document and set the expectations of the claim when opening it so the insurance or the insured, which is the homeowner, doesn't get denied or the insurance company tries to lowball them. Um, the second scenario is typically we come in after the fact when they filed the claim, and then we come in and renegotiate on their behalf going forward. So both scenarios work. We prefer the first one, obviously, because we can set the expectations. But there's been many times where we've come in and been successful on taking over existing claims.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. So I'll make sure I have all of Gary's information in the description. People can click, check it out a little bit easier. At least having someone saved in your contacts will always make your life easier because I think especially when stuff like that happens, you go into kind of a frenzy mode, right? You're like, what do I do? What's the first step? Like this has happened to my house, or I don't know what to do. Like I just need to like get through this as soon as possible. But the best case scenario is having these people already in your phone, already having access, remembering who they are. So when something like this happens, you have at least someone to call, calm you down, and say, all right, let's walk through this together. Um, Switching gears just a little bit, you and I met through BNI. So I'd love to hear, first of all, what were your first impressions of BNI before you even went? And you were like, what brought you to your first meeting?
Yeah, so actually the owner of our company, he was actually in a BNI group in Fleming Island.
Oh,
And there were a few times where he was unable to make the BNI meeting. So he asked me to sit in for him. So I had to wake up at 5:30 in the morning to drive an hour out to the
oh
BNI
my
meeting. Yeah, it was pretty insane. And I sat in and I got a taste of the process. And I thought it was valuable because now you have a network of business owners in different categories where especially like in home services that can bring me referrals and vice versa. If I have any needs for certain things, I have a company that I can refer people to. So I sat in, I saw the value in it because we've gotten a few people that are consistent referral partners from BNI. And then eventually the owner got too busy to be in a chapter.
God.
So when I became the director of our company, I decided to uh, basically apply myself for my own seat.
There you go.
And yeah,
How long have
and
you been in BNI?
I have been in BNI since February of this year.
Awesome. So about the same time as me. So throughout the past year, what have you really seen in BNI that you're like, oh, all right, this is a good group to be a part of?
Oh yeah, of course. So consistency for
Mm,
one. Typically, if BNI members tend to go at other BNI members in regards to uh, business referrals. That's what it's mostly about. So I've seen where people gravitate more towards BNI members versus somebody that's outside the chapter
right.
because one, they want to get that thank you for closed business. But also, I think it shows that you're more dedicated to growing and servicing your business when you're a part of something like this.
Right.
Um, and the second thing is accountability.
Hmm.
You know, if you're not producing in the BNI, it'll show and reflect in those weekly numbers.
Yep. Definitely. It's helpful for us because these are things we need to be doing anyway, right? Connecting with other business owners in the area, passing referrals, and just being on top of, hey, I sent you a referral. Did you call up? Did you call them? Did like what happened? Where is it? And I think every week I always make sure at least, I have something submitted by, Wednesday at the latest. Or I'm like, oh, I should really get in my numbers for this one. And I think it really motivates you to continue growing within your chapter, but also like us, like we're not in the same chapter, we're in different chapters, but we're able to still have a great conversation and still connect each other with people that we know.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Did you
Yeah.
have any like, I think it's a very common thing I've heard is did you have any like preconceived notions about what BNI is where you're like, oh, it seems like too much work or anything like that?
Uh, to me, it's honestly not too much work. I mean, I agree with what you said is these are things that you should be doing anyway.
Hmm.
And there's always going to come times where people will need referrals for specific things. So I just believe that having that network overall is a good thing.
Hmm.
Now, yeah, do I like waking up at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning to do a Zoom call? Not really. But at the end of the day, for me, it's how bad do you want to grow your business?
Right.
Is it worth waking up a couple extra hours early to uh, take your business or your career to the next step?
Mm-hmm.
So um, I would say that's the only thing. But as
Mm-hmm.
far as listening to the podcasts or going to the events, um, or even passing business, those are things that, in my opinion, you should be doing anyway.
Right.
So
Definitely. And I think it's kind of more fun this way. I don't know if maybe I'm just like still just young, but I like the competitive aspect of it. Every week we have our leadership like announce like the leaders of the week. And I just think that's really fun. You know, I like seeing where other people are and I love looking at the sheet and just seeing who I can connect with today or writing down what people asked for when they ask for referrals. So I think it's fun playing it like a little game, I guess. It makes the business side of it, I think, a little bit more interesting. But
I agree.
yeah,
It's a
I
game. It's a metrics game.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a what's it called? I was a child athlete, so you can tell in that in that regard. Very used to competing.
I was an
Also,
athlete too, so I
yeah.
get it.
There's
Yeah,
just something in it, you know? Like it's like another extra high. Like, yeah, I get extra recognition. Why not? Um, but Garry, thank you so much for taking a few minutes, coming on the podcast, sharing a little bit about what you're doing, because I think, especially those who are newer to Florida like I am, I didn't really know any public adjusters. I didn't hear about it a lot where I was from. And so it's super cool to connect with people down here who are doing that and listening to some stories. I'll also link the video that I mentioned that I watched about what a public adjuster was doing for some people, just because I think it's, you know, we hear about it, we hear the steps, but actually hearing a real life story is really cool. So, Garry, again, thank you so much for the time and coming on and sharing a little bit about your story. I really appreciate it.
of course. And I appreciate your time as well and being here for the interview today.
Of course. And to everyone watching, I really appreciate you as well, and I'll see you next time. Bye.